Hello everyone, and thanks for being here at Cabin Fever Crochet with me, Helene. I'm doing a tutorial today on my cup, can, or bottle coaster cozy. And I designed this that you can make it as wide in circumference or as narrow as you want, as tall or as short as you want, to fit a variety of shapes and sizes. And I'm going to show you the different ones and some different yarn options, and then we'll just get right into it. I used to take these when I was doing the market last year, and they did pretty well, and people liked them, and they liked all the fun colors, and I did a couple in, team sports and whatever it is. You can really customize them, and say if you have a barbecue or a cookout or whatever it is, you can give one, if you are inclined to make that many, depending how many people you have, one for each guest in a different color, so then that way everybody knows if they set their cup down whose is whose. And it would just, if you have a small gathering, it would be a really fun thing for someone to take home, especially if it is a special occasion. They get a little party favor too. These two now are actually the same size, and one is for a water bottle and it fits, and the other is for a can. Exact same size, same type of yarn. And in this one I made for my to-go water bottle, and it's very tall, and I made it just a little bit wider, and I used up just end pieces, little scraps I had of a different yarn. This is in Caron Cotton Cakes, cotton acrylic, which I think would work just fine, but if you can get all cotton or the most a higher cotton content, that is ideal, because cotton is going to be the most absorbent. And these two I made in Lion Brand 24/7 cotton, which I have found to be the best for these. But if you're, whatever yarn that you do choose, and if you're going with 100% cotton, if it has a little bit of texture and bite to it, the better, because it's going to make it more structured and hold its shape. Because if it's super soft, then it's going to be very puddly, and then it's more likely to slide down. But if you do have a softer yarn, such as the Hobby Lobby, I love this cotton, then we're going to go down a hook size or two anyway, and I would definitely, it's recommended, and I would do at least a G hook 4mm on this, because the tighter you go, the tighter your stitches, and then that's going to give you more structure too. So if this, something like this is all you have, you could certainly try that. Oh, and the Lion Brand it's a mercerized cotton, and so all these I've shown so far are a lighter weight number 4. I do not recommend a real heavy worsted weight. It's just going to be too thick and bulky, and then what you're putting it on, if it doesn't have a concave bottom, such as a drink can, so that the bottom coaster part can kind of poke inside a little bit. If it's too thick of yarn, then it's going to make that very bulky. And then something that is, now that is this water bottle, those are a little concave, but something that is flat, such as my bottle, then it's going to make it real weeble wobbly because of the thickness on the bottom, and then you'd be more likely to knock that and tip it over. This acts more as a coaster and something that gives you grip to hold it on to. It absorbs the moisture underneath, and then also where the can or bottle or cup tends to sweat, and then as it gets hot and the ice melts and your hand is all wet. Now, although cotton or cotton blend material is not going to insulate like an insulating type of foam or neoprene or whatever, but it really does help to extend the coolness, the life of it, and keep it from getting hot really fast. And with the water bottle having a cover on, because this is already an insulated container, it's not going to help insulate it anymore, and these typically aren't going to sweat and get wet on the outside. However, besides looking really cute, it makes it nice for holding and gripping, and helps cushion it and keeping it from banging around in your cart if you have this with you and set it down on the seat or the floorboard or against something when you're on the road. This is what I have left from Caron cotton cakes. So that's what I'm going to use, and you just have to, if you're using bits and pieces, you just have to decide kind of where you want your placement to be, how you want the color changes to go. Now this recommends an H 5mm hook for on the ball band, and I've used a variety of sizes in that yarn, so I'm going to go down to an F hook, F 3.75mm. So if you are using a little bit thicker yarn like the Caron cotton cakes or the Hobby Lobby, I love this cotton compared to the Lion brand 24/7, you may need to go down even yet another hook size. So you can try a larger, smaller hook size depending on what you're making it for, or you can do one more or one less round to get the base for the circumference of your container, because you don't want the circumference to be wider, because once we make that curve and fit it over, it's going to be too big and it's going to slide off. Okay, so I like to start with a magic circle, and I take the tail end, drape it over my palm facing me. I take the long working end, okay, I wrap it around, drape the long end and back. That makes kind of an X. Okay, and I go up under the loop that's facing me and pull the working end through. Okay, and then grab a hold of all three of these pieces and then just chain one to lock that in. Okay, so for round one we are going to work 10 double crochet into the magic circle. Okay, okay, now take your tail end and just close that loop a little bit to bring the two bottom sides together. Now slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet. Okay, and then now as we come around, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each double crochet all the way around. So you can either chain 3, or if you have a chainless double crochet method you prefer, you can do that. Alright, and then now double crochet into that very same first stitch. It's a little tight, so be careful you don't miss that. And then now 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. Alright, and when you get back around to the beginning, you should have 20 double crochets. Okay. Okay, so now we're back around at the end of round 2. We will begin round 3 and go up to the 1, 2, the third chain at the top, your beginning chain, slip stitch through those top 2 loops, and again we are going to chain 3. That counts as your first double crochet. Do that, or your alternate. Okay, so now we're going to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, so the chain 3 counts as 1. Now place another double crochet right into that very same stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next, and that's our sequence. 2 in the next, 1 in the next. 2, 1, 2, 1. That's it, all the way around. Okay, so when you get to the end of round 3, you will have 30 double crochets all the way around, and I will see you there. And then if you need to add one more round, so after round 3 of the base, if you need to add one more, then you would do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2, 2 in the next, 1 in each of the next 2. You do that all the way around. So instead of having 30 double crochets as your stitch count from that point on, you would have 40 double crochets, and that's the count that you would then maintain. I'm at the end of round 3, 30 stitches. Now slip stitch into that top of your chain 3. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet all the way around in the back loop of each stitch. Okay, so bring that loop up a little bit, fit it into that back loop of the very first stitch, the one you just slip stitched into, and then double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in each back loop all the way around. Okay, that's all you do for this round. So this will complete the coaster portion and the base. Now your work's going to start curling up a little bit. That's what we want it to do. So it's going to make that cylindrical shape. Okay, I'll meet you back around. You should still have 30 double crochets. Okay, you can see by working in the back loop, it's causing that to pop up now. Back around, here we are, round 4, have that nice little bowl shape going. Again, slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet if you are carrying on with your same yarn color. If you are switching like I am, take my hook through the top loops, bring my other yarn color through, and then through. Okay, you can tie a little, like with the 2 tail ends if you want. Just tie those square knot, right over left, left over right. Now we're going to begin rounds 5 through 9, and that's for standard can size. So you can make it as tall as you like. We're going to work continuing in the round, but we're going to slip stitch as we join each time, and we'll be working a cross stitch pattern that creates a diagonal effect since we're working in the round. So I want you to pay attention to the first stitch of the row below, the first double crochet. Remember, we chained 1. So don't think that's a chain 3 in your first stitch. We chained 1 and then we double crocheted into the back loop. So this is where your placement is going to be as we move over. Okay, that'll make more sense. Just a sec. Chain 3, that counts as your first double crochet. We're going to cross over and place a new double crochet into the first double crochet from the row below, and as always go through both of your top loops. Okay, now we're going to skip this first double crochet that I just pointed out. I didn't want you to mistake this as your first double crochet, because that's your chain 1. Alright, so now you're going to skip the next double crochet to the left of your first one, okay, and then double crochet into the next. You're going to cross over and double crochet into this skipped stitch to the right, and this is what you're going to do all the way around. You're going to skip the next unworked double crochet, so you have a stitch here. You skip the next, double crochet into the next, cross over and double crochet in that skipped stitch, which is in the center, the one you worked before and then one you just worked. So you double crochet into there. Then you jump over, skip the next unworked stitch, double crochet into the next, cross over and double crochet into the unworked double crochet to the right of it, and that's all you do all the way around. Skip the next unworked double crochet, work into the next, and then cross over, work into that skip double crochet to the right. Okay. And that's all you do all the way around. And this is going to be our repeat pattern for the height. And I'll show you as we connect, we come around, and I'll get you started again. And that's all you do, around and around and around. You just want to leave a little bit of room at the top because we're going to add 2 finishing rounds. Okay, so I'll see you back at the beginning. Alright, I'm back around at the end of round 1 of our cross stitch pattern. And this may be a little tight, so you can kind of carefully pull it up if you need to, but what we're going to do, if you worked your chain 3 at the beginning, we're going to slip stitch to the top of your chain 3. Don't mistakenly go over onto the left to the double crochet on the left here, because each cross, you're going to have a left and a right stitch. So go up to the top of your chain 3, through both loops and slip stitch. Might be a little tight. Go ahead and chain 3 again, which counts as your first double crochet. As you did before, cross over and double crochet into that first stitch on the right. There's your chain 3, so you skip the next and you are going to double crochet into the next. And if you notice, that is the right portion of your next X or cross. Okay, double crochet in there and then cross back over and go into the unworked stitch, and then you'll be finishing your first cross. Okay, and again you skip the next unworked stitch, which is now your stitch on the left of the next cross. Okay, and then you work into the next stitch, cross over, go back into the unworked stitch and finish that cross. And then you just keep going all the way around, skip the next unworked, work into the next, double crochet, cross back over to the right. Okay, and this is all you do over and over all the way around. Then when you come back around and have worked your last 2 stitches, then as you did before, you're going to connect into the top of your chain 3. Make sure it's the top of that chain 3 and not the double crochet to the left of it, because that's going to throw you off. So I will go ahead, I will do a couple more rounds. I'm just going to do a little sample here, and then I'll show you how we just finish off with our little borders at the top. I've come around and I changed colors again, just as I did before. I think it's easier to see the different stitches this way. Alright, so now we're just going to work a double crochet in every stitch around, so both the left and right of each cross all the way around. Again, start by chaining 3, or you can work an alternate chainless double crochet. So chain 3 for the first, double crochet in the next, and the next, and the next. That's it. Just double crochet in each stitch all the way around. So you should still have 30 double crochets. That's all there is to this one. Quick and easy. Okay, I will meet you back around, we'll connect, and we will do our final row and that round, and that will just to help secure the top and keep that from stretching out. back around. Then you're going to want to slip stitch to the top of that first chain 3. Alright, I'm going to change yarns once again. Chain 1. That does not count as a stitch, and then now slip stitch in the next stitch through both loops, and slip stitch in each stitch around. Do not do it tightly, because that will draw your work inward and make it too tight. So if you need to, you can go up 1 hook size. Just slip stitch all the way around. Okay, I've come back around, and then just jump on over to that very first slip stitch, and then you can just slip stitch to join your 2 ends. Cut your yarn and then sew in your ends. Okay, thanks again for joining me. Let me know if you make this and what you think of it, if you would please. Okay, take care, my fiber friends, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.